What's up everyone, welcome back. Today we're playing Valgavoth, Terror Eater. This is a new legendary creature that came out of the Duskmourn set. It is a 9 mana, so 6 generic, 3 black pips, Elder Demon 9/9, and there's a lot of text here, so just give me a sec. Flying, lifelink, ward, sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. So if you're not familiar with ward, it's kind of like hexproof, except you can pay a cost to sort of negate the effect. So if someone wants to target this, for example, to remove it with like a removal spell, they have to sacrifice 3 non-land permanents, otherwise that spell is countered. Pretty steep cost for the opponent. So it's nice to have a 9 mana spell, 9 mana creature that can protect itself really well like that. So the rest of the card says, if a card you didn't control will be put in an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. During your turn, you may play cards exile with Valgavoth. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than pay its mana cost. So this works extremely well, especially against graveyard decks or other types of decks, but it's going to work really well against our opponents because our deck is designed essentially to put stuff in their graveyard. You know, black has a lot of discard effects and it has a lot of removal spells. So just by playing our deck, we're going to be putting our opponent's creatures and permanents and cards from their hand into their graveyard. And with Valgavoth down, those creatures get exiled under Valgavoth, and then we can cast them later if we want. So we essentially we basically steal our opponent's spell. Everything we kill becomes ours with this creature down, and they have to sacrifice 3 non-land permanents to try to get rid of this thing. So what's the strategy of the deck? Because Valgavoth is obviously 9 mana, we can't just plop it down on turn 2. So the goal of the deck is essentially mono black control until we get Valgavoth down, right? It's going to take a while, especially in Brawl where it's 1v1. In Commander, it might not be, you know, this style of deck, right? We could probably play more of a mono black mid-range style of deck. But in Brawl, since we have to stop what our opponent is doing in order to survive long enough to get Valgavoth down, it's all the stuff you would expect. You know, like I was saying, discard effects, a lot of removal spells, board wipes, value removal spells like Invoke Despair, ramp spells like Solemn, and we have like basically every mana rock in here just to try to get Valgavoth down a little bit faster. Treasure Map's a nice one because it helps us scry our dead draws and then eventually gives us 3 treasures, so that's a nice little piece of ramp. We have Dark Ritual in here to speed up the process as well. So again, the goal is to remove all of our opponent's stuff with this part of the deck until we get Valgavoth down. Once we get Valgavoth down, we can continue to do that and then cast their spells. And we can cast their best stuff and beat them down with it. We can also cast some of our endgame finishers like Grizzlebrand, Bolas' Citadel. I don't know if I have Aetherflux Reservoir in here. I might add that before we start the games, because then we have the Bolas' Citadel Aetherflux Reservoir combo. Professor Onyx helps us get cards, but also gain some life back. You know, we have to pay life to cast the spells, so it's nice to have some, you know, background life gain in the deck. And Valgavoth has lifelink as well, but we have to get to the point where we can attack with it in order to gain that life. So does Grizzlebrand, has lifelink. So, you know, there's some ways to gain life in this deck, but Professor Onyx is another one when we cast instants and sorceries, which a lot of our deck is instants and sorceries. Liliana Dreadhorde General. So these are our endgame finishers. Everything else is basically control and card draw, because that's the only way we're going to survive long enough to get Valgavoth down. So yeah, before I forget, let me get Aetherflux Reservoir in here, and I'll take something out. That way we have that combo. And if you're not familiar with the combo, I'll show it to you real quick. So Aetherflux Reservoir says whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. And then if we have 50 life, we can pay 50 life to do 50 damage to any target, usually our opponent's face. So with Bolas' Citadel down, we have to pay life to cast spells. But as we continue to cast spells and our storm count goes up, we gain more and more life. So eventually with both of these down, we gain more life than we lose, and we can just continue to cast spells essentially for free, right? It also, even without both of these pieces down, Aetherflux Reservoir is just nice to have down on the battlefield, because as we cast spells, we gain life. So if we cast 2 spells in a turn, you know, we start to gain life from just doing what our deck wants to do anyway. And, you know, Valgavoth is a 9/9, so it's not, you know, unforeseeable that we get this down, we gain enough life, and then we just have some extra life, you know, to eventually pay the 50 life to kill our opponent. It's not the way we want to win, but it's not unforeseeable, right? It's not too far-fetched. So anyway, that's the deck. I got to take out something. I don't want to take out a land. Why don't we take out this board wipe? It's kind of the worst one. Okay. Let's hop into the games. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I make videos every week, mainly historic Brawl, or Brawl now as they call it, content, but all sorts of other stuff too, commander content. And I try to break down the decks for people so that they can either build their own version, or they can, you know, go the, you know, see the deck list in the description and try out the version I made and explain why I made the decisions I did, so that, you know, people can sort of get inside my head and understand why I'm putting certain cards in the deck or playing a certain way. So if you like that, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below, like the video, all the YouTube stuff. Alright, we got our first game. It's against Maha. So 2 mono black decks. So Maha is the new creature that makes all our creatures have base toughness 1. The thing is, our deck doesn't have a ton of creatures. So this doesn't really affect us too bad. It doesn't have ward either, so we can... Oh, it does have ward, never mind. Ward, discard a card. Not too bad. Not the best, but not too bad. But we can kill it. So they're going to do some toughness 1 shenanigans. So our hand, we have a discard spell, removal spell, ramp piece, tutor, and a board wipey type effect. They get to go first. This probably just dies, but it gets a removal spell out of their hand, so I guess it's always tough against mono black if you have mana dorks. But maybe we can get it out of their hand here. That's their only non-creature, non-land card in their hand. Well, I mean, it's not a bad one to take. So the whole rest of their hand is creatures and lands. Sure, take your pick. You can take the removal spell, but I've got 18 other removal spells. I'm not worried about it. Okay, that's a good draw. This at least gets us value when it enters the battlefield. So even if they kill it, actually we get double value, because if they kill it, then we get to draw a card. Morbid Opportunist, so they're going to try to draw cards when they kill our creatures. It actually survived. I'm shocked. Okay. Well, let's do this while we have the mana. And then if they want to kill it, we get value anyway. So Maha comes down next turn. Shambling Ghast. They want me to block it because they want the treasure. So no blocks. Yep, they didn't have a way to ramp out their commander. We're hitting our land drops, so that's good. There are 40 or 39 lands in the deck, a mixture of actual lands and MDFCs, but there are 39 lands. So we have plenty of lands. We don't skimp on lands on this channel. So what do we do here? This doesn't have Death Touch. We have 6 mana. We could rankle them. We could go get a card and prepare for later. What would we even get? We could play this and make it so they can't... Basically, they lose their board. we make them sack a creature, they're just going to sack their Shambling Ghast, draw a card. Yeah, that's too much value for them. So I think we just go get a card. We're under no pressure. So what can we afford? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 mana value or less. It's kind of early for that. I think this is a good one to get. It's not affected by their commander. We can either make zombies or make them each of us sacrifice 2 creatures. So they're going to attack again, which makes me think they don't have a land drop. If they do have a land drop, then we'll just play this next turn. Lily on the Veil, sure.
This is my home, and I don't appreciate it when people.
They're gonna make me sack a creature. Well, that's an easy choice. Take action. Okay. A land would be sweet. Don't want to miss our land drops. Nice. Okay. So on this board state, what do? We have 7 mana, right? We could power up Faceless Haven, try to smack Liliana. Do we even care about Liliana? I mean, we have more cards than them. It really hurts them more than it hurts us. We could play Liliana and keep Ornithopter up as a blocker. They'll make us discard. We could just discard the Ironcrag. We could play the Ironcrag and Liliana. That's probably good, but then we don't have a blocker for Liliana. I think we do it like this, right? Make a zombie. I'm not afraid of this Liliana.
My army will
We'll use the zombie as a blocker. If they have removal, they have removal, but they can't kill it, at least with the board state I can see. Maybe they have a removal spell in their hand. We're getting very close to 9 mana. 5, 6, 7, 8. We are 1 land away. You can tick up Liliana if you want. Yep. It's not a creature, so your commander doesn't affect it. Okay. Valgavoth. Tough creature to kill. Kind of have to exile it. Okay, and then they're going to make me discard? Maybe not, because they have 1 card in hand. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so we have the mana. We have the mana for our commander. I think we just play it, because how do they get rid of it? If they target it, they have to sacrifice basically everything here. Yeah. I think we just do it. Make them have the answer. We could also -4 here, which would be pretty funny. They'll draw some cards. Is this a... whenever another creature... this ability triggers... yeah, so they'd only draw 1 card. But then they'd have... they wouldn't have enough permanents to get rid of this. You see what I mean? Because they'd only have this creature and this creature. So they'd have to have a removal spell and a permanent to get to actually be able to target this. I think that's what we do, and then we'll draw 2 cards.
A little death never hurt anyone.
It's a little bit of a weird play, but it keeps the board small. And if the board's small, they can't get rid of this creature. Not without like a black board wipe, which I'm not sure they run. I think they run... I think their removal is their commander. And we get these spells because they get exiled under Valgavoth. And so we can cast them if we want. We can pay life. So yeah, I didn't even think about that part. That's pretty sweet. They don't have... I mean, they can make us discard, but they can't tick Liliana down to make us sack a creature. Even if they did, we'd just choose the Shambling Ghast. So, Shambling Ghast will die, right? No. Okay, I gotcha. We each discard a card. Well... I don't think I want to blow up the board, so I guess this is the most useless thing. Does this have Death Touch? No. Gain some life. Why did it die? I'm so confused. Oh, because its toughness was 1. Gotcha. Okay, no problem. Take action. We draw some cards.
They were a lousy servant anyway.
You can tick her up if you want. So Sheoldred can come down next turn and blow up their Maha. And this is something I wanted to point out too. Like, even if Valgavoth dies, right? It's still so much value. And we'll get to the point where we can cast it again. It's still a ton of value, and it puts him in such a bind that it's still worth it, you know? I think we definitely cast you. I'm just seeing how much mana I have left over if I do that. Plenty of mana, so we'll cast you. Trigger, trigger. Decline. Sack your Maha. Or your Liliana, whichever. Okay. I don't... They don't have any enchantments right now, so I guess I'll just go for this. Yes. Discard a card. I guess this one, because... I mean, it's ramp, but I'd rather get the Phyrexian Arena down. Yeah. These cards are better than this one right now. Draw a card. Inquisition. Inquisition you. Nothing to take, but definitely two cards that are good to know about. Make a zombie. All attack.
Good help is easy to find in war.
Your turn. So those are two good cards, but neither of them really hurt us. And it would be their whole turn to do it. They can only play one of these spells. So is it going to be your commander? Is it going to be your Liliana? Or your Sheoldred? It's kind of funny that we have like the same cards, but we are two mono black decks, so we are both playing the best mono black cards. Okay, they play their commander. Kind of a weird choice against a mono black deck because we're just gonna kill it. But first, how many cards do they have in their graveyard? 3? No, I can't. I was seeing if I could activate Sheoldred, but I cannot. Next, this has menace, so they can't block it. We'll do it like this. If they want to block a creature and kill it, that's fine. You can't block that one because it has menace. So you can block the zombie. So I'll draw a card. The reason I'm doing it this way is so that I have an extra card to discard to its ward effect. Actually, extra 2 cards because of Liliana's ability. Oh, now we have the Thoughtseize too. Okay. 6, 7, 8, 9. Don't want to miss our land drop. So Thoughtseize, what? Probably their Liliana. That's the card that I think kind of turns the tables here. Go for the throat. Your commander. Yes, I'm sure. Resolve. I think we get rid of the treasure map since we have the Phyrexian Arena. Play the arena. Make a zombie. End the turn.
Rise and shine.
4, 7, 8, 9. So we just need 2 more mana. That's a good card. That will draw us 2 cards and give us a treasure. So we're definitely close. If we draw a land, we can play Valgavoth next turn. Resolve. Yep. Trigger, 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 trigger. Create a treasure. Yeah, I think they saw the writing on the wall. We were going to draw a bunch of cards. One of them was probably going to be a land. We'd have enough mana to play Valgavoth. They have no way of getting rid of it because they can't target it. This is untargeted removal, kind of like an edict. So we'll just sack something else. Probably the zombie we were going to make. This is doing nothing right now. Yeah. GG. Valgavoth. Pretty sweet card. Definitely a little clunky in Brawl because it's 9 mana and it takes forever for it to come down, but thankfully Black has like Dark Ritual and access to the different mana rocks. Otherwise it might be unplayable in this format. Be much easier in actual Commander and EDH because you're going to have more breathing room, more time to get your Commander down, better ramp as well. But in Brawl, you don't have that same time. You know, you have one opponent, and that one opponent's trying to kill you as fast as possible or lock you out of the game as fast as possible. So this is the version we have to play in order to get our Commander down. Sauron. Another creature with a really good ward ability. So this Edict is actually great against them. Well, it's actually not, because we'll cast it and they'll make... Oh no, because we can choose non-token. This is actually a good spell against them, as long as they don't have another non-token creature. Treasure map's good. They get to go first, which sucks. This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be an uphill battle. Their access to blue really kind of makes me think we're at a disadvantage, because even if we get to the point where we can finally cast Valgavoth, they can just counter it, and there's not a lot we can do about that. So we will just try to ramp faster than them and have removal that'll work against them, but it's a good card, but not really what we're looking for right now. They could counter this. That would be a bummer. If they're smart, they'll counter it. The reason I say that is because I mean, I guess they don't know we're a control deck, but in a control mirror, this early in the game, taking away your opponent's card sorting engine and / ramp piece is a really big blow in a 1v1 format. Okay, so we'll just pass like this. This is a good card. We have the ability to Shieldred's Edict and Treasure Map. They're just going to pass. No. We're going to play this thing. Okay. To solve, you control no suspected skeletons. Sacrifice this case, search your library for a card. So this is essentially a tutor, eventually. This creature can't block, and it has menace. Okay. Let's see what's on top of our deck. Yep, we'll keep that. My turn. Resolve. We want to hit our land drops. They can counter this if they want. They probably should. The creature has menace. Yeah, that's a good one. So Sauron comes down next turn. Is there anything we can do about that? Not really. Yeah, if I was them, I would just slam Sauron. Because none of our targeted removal is going to work against that. But we do have a answer. So they don't know we have the answer, but we do have an answer. Let's upkeep Scry. Ornithopter. I kind of don't want it against another black deck because they're just going to remove it, but it is ramp. I would kind of prefer a land. We can't do this and Sheoldred's Edict anyway, so I guess we're going to bottom it. Yep. Draw land. No. Okay. I'm gonna do this on my turn since they're mostly tapped out. Hopefully they don't have a Spell Pierce. Okay, so it's gonna be a while before Sauron comes back down again. But hopefully we get to the point where we can get Liliana down, because that's another way that we can make them sacrifice it without having to pay its ward cost. Drawn cards, I think they don't have lands. Probably digging for lands. Digging for something. Hello, opponent? So they're drawing 2 and then discarding a card. So they must not have hit a land, and that's why they're in the tank. Are they just going to rope me out? I mean... the game's not over. They might have to crack this for a land. They might have to go tutor a land. I mean, I've been there. I've done it. I have grim tutored for a land before. So you guys want to take bets on whether they just scoop right here? Okay. Maybe they disconnected. Who knows? We're definitely gonna treasure map. Flip it. Shadow's Verdict. Ooh. That does get rid of their board. But then they can tutor. So do we want to do that? I don't know. We'll get 3 treasures. I think we bin this. We can Liliana their stuff away. That's a good land. 1, 4, 5, 6, 9. So if we don't spend any of our treasures, we can Valgavoth next turn. I wish we could do it this turn because they're tapped out, but we cannot. So do we just Elspeth's Nightmare or something, get in their hand, Valgavoth next turn? I think that's probably the best play here. Keep our treasures for Valgavoth. We'll get rid of this so that they can't tutor. Their midnight clock is going to go off eventually, so they'll draw into some lands then. That is assuming that the opponent is still here. So if you're not familiar with Elspeth's Nightmare, so we obviously Chapter 1, destroy a creature with power 2 or less. Chapter 2 is opponent reveals their hand. We choose a non-creature not land card from it. The player discards that card. So if they have a counter in their hand, before we even cast anything on our turn, we get to look at their hand and make them discard whatever we don't want them to have. And then the last chapter is we get to exile their graveyard, which is just good value. But if they do have a counter, before we slam our Valgavoth and waste all our treasures, we can see what they have in their hand. Maybe they have 2 counters, and then we don't cast Valgavoth, right? Maybe we cast something else, draw out the counters, and then next turn play Valgavoth. If they don't just scoop it up here, let's see. You gonna head explode? Yep, got him. They couldn't handle Valgavoth. They just couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it. It was too terrifying, the thought of it coming down. I think they didn't hit any lands, and they just got pissed. We'll crack a pack real quick. Little intermission. What we get? Ooh, these lands are so cool. They're not the best non-basics they've ever printed, or dual lands, but in decks that I play, fans of the channel will know I'm a Rakdos fan. This is great because my Rakdos decks are usually like 75% black stuff and 25% red stuff, so this is actually like the perfect land for those decks. Cool. That is a card I don't have to spend a rare wild card on. Hopefully we get like a non-control deck next, because that's all we've played. Perfect. Okay, so what is this? Green. Oh, I remember this card. I remember they previewed this card. It's kind of busted. So, Kona, Rescue Beastie. Survival. At the beginning of your second main phase, if Kona, Rescue Beastie is tapped, you may put a permanent card from your hand on the battlefield. Scary, scary, scary. Not so bad in mono green, but a scary card nonetheless. They can still put some crazy stuff down. I mean, any permanent. I mean, that could be an Eldrazi. That could be Portal to Phyrexia. I mean, you know, who knows. But they have to get to their second main phase, and it has to be tapped. So they have to have either attack with it or have a way to tap it. And our deck has a lot of removal. They get to go first. Removal, kind of. Removal. Card draw. Mega card draw. Does this kill? Yeah, this kills their commander. So I think we keep. And we just gotta draw lands. Thankfully we have a Sign in Blood to help us get there. We just want to make sure this never gets to the second main. And hopefully we get there. They didn't have a turn 1 mana dork, so that's nice. Okay, so they have a turn 2 ramp play, but then into nothing. So they could play their commander next turn, but then I don't think they have a way to tap it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I draw 2, I'm going to have to discard a card. I don't really want to do that, so let's get you down. Yeah, play their commander. Okay. Hopefully we draw a removal spell. We have a bunch in the deck. Yeah, I guess we're scrying here. I would like to use this for drawing cards, but we either need lands. Okay, we'll do. We don't have a way to remove it, so next turn they're going to put down whatever they want. That's pretty terrifying. It's pretty terrifying. Okay, well, let's see what they do. I mean, yeah, Blood Chiefs, we don't have enough mana for this yet. Hopefully they put down something that we can sweep up. So they have to attack. Pass. I guess we'll just take it. And we'll see what they slam down. kind of scared. We don't have anything for them to blow up. Primeval Titan. Okay. Definitely good, but not the worst. We can get rid of it. And if that's their best thing in their hand, I'm not as scared. I was more scared of like Eldrazi, like an Emrakul, or a Ulamog, or, you know, well, Nissa. That's definitely one. Okay. Nissa. I think we just have to draw here. Rankle. Okay.
I protect that which cannot
Yeah, that's probably
itself.
game. And they have Nykthos.
The land fights for us.
And we're not drawing lands. Yeah, that's probably game. I could play it out, but I'd rather not waste your guys' time. So we should have mulliganed. I lost that game when I didn't have a hand with instant speed interaction. That's what I should have done. I should have mulliganed down to a hand that had a go for the throat or something like that I could play at instant speed. That was like 2 mana. And then that would have been a very different game, right? But Primeval Titan plus Nissa, and we're stuck on 3 lands. There's not a lot we can do about that. There's a chance we could have fought through it, but not with what I saw in our hand. The Languish doesn't kill both creatures, it just kills their commander. Primeval Titan ramping them 2 lands a turn plus just being a 6/6 is, you know, something we have to kill, and we didn't have an answer for it. Yeah, not great. Okay, anyway, moving on. Urabrask. This is kind of like a Spell Slinger combo deck where they make a bunch of mana and try to kill me that way. At least we get to go first. We have removal. Ramp. I wish this wasn't in my opening hand, but here we are. I think because we go first, we can keep this. Let's see what you got. Light up the stage. Creature or planeswalker. Yeah, I don't really care about that at this point in the game. I care about the ramp. Pass the turn. We really need lands. What's new? I'm telling you guys, I have almost 40 lands in the deck, so it's not like I skimped on lands. Cool. Drawing lands. I don't know if they're gonna have creatures with power 2 or less, so I kind of feel like, I mean, maybe we can just make them discard 2 here. Maybe that's the better play. We would have liked to draw something that drew us cards. So what they get rid of? Tectonic Hazard, Volt Charge. Okay. At the stage, yeah. See, they just don't have creatures that this is gonna hit. So I might as well get it down so I can get in their hand next turn. If they have a land, they can play their commander, but then they can't do anything else. Okay, they're going to cantrip. Do that. This is a land, so that's cool. Alright. Creature or planeswalker, I don't really care about that. That's card draw, which is fine. This is probably a win con for them, so I guess we'll take that. We have to play this and then Solemn. We don't have a choice. This has to be our line. Okay. So now we have 5 mana. So we have more options like Crux of Fate. We're 1 mana away from Bolas's Citadel. Yep. So they're not hitting their land drop, so we yeah, they should have probably done that first. Still not hitting their land drop. They can't cast either of these. Yikes. Well, I think on this board we just play Shieldred, right? And no reason to attack, they can just block. If they want to kill Shieldred, that's fine. That's Storm and others. Oh, you're gonna draw 2 in the face of the Shieldred. Ooh. Or draw 3. No. Yeah, draw 3. Yikes. I mean, they're desperate. They gotta hit their land. What does this do? Copy target. Yeah. Well, you can't play that. So that's going away. Okay. Well, attack with both. I mean, unless they can get rid of the shoulder, they're just gonna die, so... Yep. And... we will end the turn. Be nice if we drew the One Ring or something like that, or anything that drew cards, because we need to gain some life. 16 life is not a very comfortable place against this deck. Okay, that's another Storm piece. Well, this is now no longer good, so let's just use it while we can. We have better removal in our hand, since this can't target. I don't know why they didn't tap this first to get the damage in, but okay. Alright. Well, I think we just blow up the Burgee and go from there, right?
Curiosity and wonder drive civilization, not petty. I can create or destroy.
We have 18 life. Yeah. I've seen this deck storm off before, so I'm not super comfortable with 18 life, but I think we're okay. Because they literally have to storm off this turn or else we win. Okay, here they go. Oh yeah, every time they draw a card, they're going to lose 2 life. Yeah, Shieldred, man. Just wins games on its own. Can't get rid of it. Alright. Valky didn't come down, but Mono Black did its thing. Alright, let's do one more game. Hopefully we can get Valgavoth down. I mean, I think we already got some good games with some good examples of it down. Oh god, the Prismatic Bridge. This is our worst matchup. It's an enchantment deck. I mean, we have enchantment removal, but this is our worst matchup. This is going to be a slog, and they get to go first. Okay, I have to keep this hand because of the Feed the Swarm, but I don't like it. I mean, the One Ring is also nice, but okay, so Prismatic Bridge, they're going to play the enchantment side, and they basically get a free creature planeswalker every turn. It's extremely hard to fight against. If you're a deck with lots of enchantment removal, then it's no big deal, because this triggers on their upkeep, so as long as you can kill, if you can destroy the enchantment before their upkeep, then it never triggers. But we only have 2 pieces of enchantment removal in our deck, because we are mono black. So, we can kill it once. The one nice thing about playing this deck is they spend their first 3 or 4 turns mana fixing because they have to get 5 colors down. So we have some breathing room. We're not going to be under pressure right away. But yeah, they're just going to do things like this. Ramp, ramp, ramp. So not next turn, but the turn after. So that's what we have to be prepared for. Man, every hand we draw the Bolas of Citadel. It's a great card, but not on turn 2. Planar Genesis. Just more ramp. Well, a colorless land doesn't really help them, so right now they're missing red and black. So these are okay, but they don't help them cast their commander. They need to go get a blue-black or blue-red land. Okay, so that now they're missing red. That's the only color they're missing. Is this instant? Yeah, it is. Okay, so we'll just hold these up and see what they do. If they try to draw cards, we can Orcish Bowmasters them. If they don't, we can just Blood Pact. They're still missing red, so they can't play their commander. Well, that's not good. Thankfully, we don't have anything for them to exile right now.
I won't stand by as innocent people are slaughtered.
So they're just gonna plus and then not choose a target. Sure. Get something down. This is only for a creature. Okay, well. It's not much, but it's better than it ulting. We have to play this as a land. And then I guess we hold that up. They can just minus Kaya here to get rid of the Bowmasters. But, like I said, that's fine. Narset. Okay. Oh shit, I should have done this before. Now I can't use this is a useless spell.
Meditate and prepare.
These are both useless until we get rid of that. Okay, so they're a Planeswalker deck, which is the worst version. Worse for us. If we draw a Blood on the Snow, then that helps. I would normally cast the One Ring, but I can't because Narset prevents us from drawing more than one card a turn. If we get another mana, we can Shadow's Verdict it. So that's something. I guess we just do this. That's our only play. Oh my god. Yeah, they don't really need to play their commander. Actually, yeah, I'm just gonna scoop it up. I don't think there's anything we can do against this. We're not hitting our lands. We don't have an answer for an all Planeswalker deck. Except for Blood on the Snow, but I'd rather play another game where we have a chance than play that out for an hour and lose. Like I said, that's one of our worst matchups in Mono Black. If I was playing a more creature-heavy deck, where I had more of a board state, then it would be okay, because we could attack down their Planeswalkers. They have no creatures to block with. Or if I was in a different kind of control deck that had access to enchantment removal, like an Orzhov deck or Golgari deck. What are you playing? Emperor. Oh yeah, I made a video on this guy. So it's really good. Basically, you just want to kill the commander. Elspeth's Nightmare. Does that hit their commander? Does not. They get to go first. We have 3 lands. Only one of them taps for black. I think we mull here. This is better. Why? Why? Why are they obsessed with putting this card in my opening hand every time? Okay, we'll keep this. Yep, ramp. It is a odd mana value, so right now Extinction Event would hit this and that. We'll just get this down and not pay the life since we don't have a turn 1 play. Yep. So I made a version of this deck, and the first version I made was getting Emperor down as fast as possible, just like they did on turn 2 or 3. But what I found was if this died, the deck didn't work anymore. So we'll see how this one plays out. But I don't think their deck works without their commander. And now it costs 5 mana. I mean, they're still going to have other creatures, but they're trying to do kind of like the Paradox or the Prismatic Bridge thing, right? Just tons of value off of this one permanent. And if it's not on the battlefield, it doesn't really work that way. We could Petulant Haze and get rid of this Pilgrim. That kind of sets them back. We could just Poison the Cup them. Yeah, I think we'll just use the Haze since we have the Extinction Event. We just, as long as we slow them down and we hit our land drops, we're doing okay. Rhythm of the Wild is pretty annoying, but... Okay, Paradise Druid, which is funny since it has haste, it can tap right away for mana. It's pretty good. And then they'll Cultivate, sure. Not a bad turn from the opponent. Soul Shatter, okay. So I think what we do here is foretell this, kill their commander, set up, scry 2, set up our next couple draws. I mean, it has to be your commander, right? Or something else. Sure. Can't be countered. Thoughtseize Duress, not really what we want right now. We want to hit lands. We have removal, so I'm not worried about what's in their hand. If we were playing a control deck, then those would be great cards, but we're playing a creature deck. Black Market, that's a great draw. One, two, three... So they can play their commander next turn, but that's their whole turn. So I'm okay dropping this down and not holding up Soul Shatter. We're at a healthy life total too, so Black Market is not going to kill us super fast. Not yet. Surveil land. Keep on top. Play your commander. Do you play it a third time into the face of a black deck? Yeah, they're not a coward. They're not afraid. Land, sweet. So we definitely want to make the treasure. Let's draw a card. Do we take the full 6? Oof. I think we have to because they have Rhythm of the Wild. We need a blocker. Extinction Event doesn't get rid of both of these. I think we'll do this once. That's a good card. If I knew I was going to draw that, I wouldn't have made this. But that's okay. Bolas' Citadel plus Black Market is not a great combo. That's a lot of life. If we have the Aetherflux Reservoir, I'll play this, but that is not a good time. Do I just Meat Hook Massacre? I mean, it gains us a little life, right? Or no, because this is the alchemy version. That's right. I think what we do is we maximize our mana. Okay, and then we can do that at instant speed. Does this say cast? Whenever another creature you control enters. Okay, so it's not a cast trigger. So we can wait on the Soul Shatter and see what they play. Roaming Throne. That's a good one. But it gets hit by Extinction Event. So we'll Soul Shatter in response. They don't get the trigger. Looks like that's their whole turn. They're probably going to attack me because they're mad. I'll block with the Shapeshifter, and then we'll Extinction Event them next turn. Why Elemental? I guess they're going to choose something else. I would have assumed they would have chosen Human or Noble for double trigger on their commander, but they must have an Elemental in their hand that does something cool. Okay, so they're going to double search for a plains and a forest. Sure. It's also an even mana cost, so it gets hit by Extinction Event. So now we know their whole hand is lands and one mystery card. They can attack me for 8 here, which is a lot. Oh, they're going to attack me for more? Oh. Okay, well. We'll take 6. And we will scry. We need to gain some life. Man, that's such a good card, but it's more life loss, so I can't take it. Just the treasure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so next turn we can play Valgavoth and start gaining some life back. So let's just do the treasure. Get rid of your board. End the turn. Probably gonna play their commander. Crater Hoof. Oh, does that just kill us? It does. Well. What a draw. Okay, well. We have 2 mana, so if we draw a 2 mana removal spell... Yeah, we didn't do it. GG. Well, we, in my mind, we lost the game, but this was still what we want to do with this deck, right? We can't help if they top deck a Crater Hoof Behemoth. There's nothing we can do about that. If we had drawn into a removal spell, we had 2 treasures, we could have cast it and killed the Crater Hoof Behemoth before it killed us. But if they didn't top deck this and get super lucky, we would have played Valgavoth. They have no permanents except for Rhythm of the Wild to sacrifice, so they can't use targeted removal to get rid of it, not that they even have any. And then it's a 9/9, so even stuff like Crater Hoof Behemoth coming down, like if this was 1 turn later, right, they'd have to attack through a 9/9 that has lifelink. So we basically would have won the game if we got Valgavoth down next turn. So that's kind of my point about this deck. It's, it takes a long time to get Valgavoth down, and so it's kind of vulnerable, right? It's a super cool card, but the deck is kind of vulnerable until you get Valgavoth down. So you got to play the control shell. I might even take out stuff like this, because this is our big mana payoff. Bolas' Citadel, I'd kind of rather just have another removal spell, honestly. Every time we got this card in our opening hand, it would have been better if it was a Go for the Throat or something like that. So I'll probably take this out. but that's how close we were to winning this game. So they got lucky, and that happens sometimes. That's the fun of Magic, but that's how close we were to winning this game. Alright, let's do a deck review. Oops, wrong button. Brawl. So, like I was just talking about, I think after playtesting this deck and playing it in the video, I think I would take out spells like Bolas's Citadel. Since we're taking out Bolas's Citadel, maybe Aetherflux Reservoir is something we want to take out. And then I would probably add in... Let's just see. Destroy. Let's see what our options are. None of these are great. I mean, you could add in stuff like Cut Down, Fatal Push. These are a lot, like, too narrow for me most of the time. I kind of prefer stuff that, yeah, like Cast Down. Usually not good because it doesn't target commanders, but it targets other stuff. So since we're adding this on top of our already big removal package, I'm okay with it. And then I think we should also do, let's see. I forget what it's called, but not scry, not screw. Cosmos Elixir. So instead of Aetherflux Reservoir, which gains us life, but kind of in a storm fashion, this gains us life and helps us draw and scry. So I think this is a better piece to have for this deck. We can play it, and then if our life total is high, it's greater than our starting life total, we get to draw a card. But if it's not, we gain 2 life and scry 1. So I think that would be a better piece in this deck. And then we won't have Bolas's Citadel ruining our opening hands a bunch. And now we only have like these handful of endgame haymakers, one of which is just a board wipe. So we really only have like 3 or 4, right? And everything else dedicated to drawing cards, staying alive, removing stuff from the opponent's hand, and killing things. I think this is a better shell. So that's how I'm going to end the deck. Let me know what you guys thought. If you like the video, subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Let me know in the comments, you know, do you think that this is the right build for this deck, or do you have another idea of how it should work? I am going to build another version of this deck, which will be like a secret commander version where it's a different commander, but the point is to get this guy out on the battlefield. So maybe I'll do that next. But I wanted to build the traditional version of this deck, right, where it's in the command zone first, to just see how that worked. So anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. See you guys in the next one. Later.